YouTube, Farmall 51 here. Alright, you can see there's no engine in the 382 Cadet. And why? She's leaking oil like crazy. Bottom oil pan and gasket are leaking, and we're going to go ahead and fix those for the Cub Fest next week so we can ride around. And here we've got our, what's it, 11 horsepower, I think, Briggs & Stratton. So I apologize for the lighting, but just the way I've got it set up. But anyway, we'll show you. Might shut that door up there in a little bit. But we're going to take this bottom oil pan off. Alright, you see a little bit better. We'll go ahead and take this oil pan off. Alright, got the bottom oil pan off. It's nasty. You can see everything looks pretty good inside. Up here on top, this is what was leaking. This old part of this gasket all right in here, it's pouring oil out the top. So what it's done is it's blown the gasket. So that's what we're going to be fixing. So alright, got the all the gasket, old gasket cleaned off all the way around. Cleaning out some of the sludge that was in here. Wasn't too bad, but I want to make sure you get all that out. Most of these engines run a 30 weight non-detergent oil. Yeah, so that non-detergent oil would leave the gum and stuff around the edge, you know, on the inside of the walls and things like that, and then that way it wouldn't keep circulating it through this engine, because this engine doesn't have a oil filter on it. So that was the reason behind, one of the reasoning behind non-detergent oil. If it had detergent oil like the regular 30 weight or oil like you put in your engines today, then it would keep everything clean inside and it would circulate it through that filter, so it would get all the contaminants out of it before it put it back into the engine. Well, these engines here, what's in there, it runs, and you know, until you change it. So that's why you need to change the oil on these engines more often, and keep that non-detergent oil in there. I think it was something about it set up to get sudsy, but that detergent oil will clean it. So alright, well, we're going to go ahead and we'll get the gasket on here in a second, and then we'll cut you back on. Alright, got the oil pan here, I guess you'd call it, cleaned out. All the bottom cleaned off, all of that, so that's good. Got the new seal in, and when I put seals in, I like to take some of the black RTV gasket, and just to ensure that there is no leaking, I'll take, and before I put the seal in, I'll take and go around the inside just a little bit, and then not a lot at all, very very thin, if any at all, on them walls. And then when you slide that seal in, there'll be no chance for anything to slide around that edge if you got any type of scarring or imperfections or anything like that. So that's what I always like to do when you can, if a seal feels sort of like it goes in too easy, which this one went in, and there was resistance to it, but you didn't have to beat the thing in like, I mean, I had to take my hammer and with the socket set on there, and had to tap it in pretty firmly to get it to go. But I like to do that anyway, and then sometimes I'll take and just make sure that crack seal, just to make sure that we don't have any more leaks. this is one part that I was waiting on that's kind of rare, hard to find. It is they had one of the old flat two-pronged, I don't know where it's at now, but like on a push mower, you got two little nubs on it and you just twist it in. This is what's supposed to be on there, and this is how you check the oil. This here, it would suck up enough oil and you could see that there was oil in it. This is what's supposed to be on this engine. So, and it's starting to rain. Thank goodness. Again, we got 2 inches yesterday, but all right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the RTV gasket around the edge very lightly, and then I'm gonna stick my gasket on there. Then I'm gonna take and put a very light layer of RTV, or that black RTV, along here. Very light layer. You do not need a lot. I did this engine here last Saturday, but a lot of people make a mistake and they'll put way too much on here, and then when you put your thing and you sandwich it down and torque it all down, mash out on either side. You mash out on the outside, it's just ugly. You mash out on the inside and it's going to take it all through this whole system and start clogging stuff up, and then you'll have problems blocking screens if you had oil filters and things like that. So, but everything looks good in here, no cracking, anything that I can tell. Everything looks good in there. So all that's been cleaned out. Got my oil slinger cleaned up. So, all right, we'll get this together here in a second. Like I said, a very thin layer, barely possible enough just to, all you really want is that gasket to stick. And if there's any imperfections, scratches, then you'll fill that void with that. Like I said, a lot of people get too dang heavy-handed with the gasket sealer. They get it all in there. More or less just doing this to make sure
get it out the rain somehow.
make sure you cover them bolt holes good enough. Like I say, it's not only a thick. When I mash it down, it ain't gonna come out.
It's making a river in it.
Alright. Let's see, we got everybody back in there. Everybody's good. Everybody's lined up.
Yep.
Got a little bit of oil on the seal. Find them dowel pins.
Yeah.
everything's torqued down to where it should be. They were not very tight to begin with. And these holes here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts that hold it on. So we got that cleaned up. Alright, keys back in. So now I'm gonna put the set it up. We're not gonna put it on the thing right now. We gotta clean the Cub Cadet up a little bit. So but anyway, alright, thanks for watching.